Today we look at the top 5 Town Hall 10 attack strategies to help you get the 3 stars. Alrighty guys, so the way this will work, we start with the 5th strongest attack strategy, and then we will teach you right of the way up to number 1, the strongest and the best Town Hall 10 attack strategy right now for Clan Wars or the Clan War League. So starting off at number 5, we have the Falcon. Now there is a ton of different variations to this style of attack, so I am just going to showcase one of them. You could class the Bow Witch as being very similar. You could class the Frozen Witch. They all have slight variations. But just before we get into this, know guys that I have a Town Hall 10 playlist. I've put a little demonstration on the screen as to what it looks like. It's over on my homepage, but I will drop in the pinned comment a link to the Town Hall 10 playlist. And if ever you're watching any of my videos, all of my playlists are in the description. But for the Falcon Attack, you want to be doing that as part of a Queen Charge or Queen Walk. That will set you up brilliantly, and the reason you want to do that is to set the funnel. For a huge amount of attacks, you want to be setting up the funnel via a Queen Charge. You will see this as we move through, bit of a spoiler alert there, but what our Queen has done has ultimately taken down this 6 o'clock area. The Barbarian King has done a good job over to the 3 o'clock area to allow the Valkyries and Bowlers directly through the middle of the base. Now that seems very simplistic at the minute, but it's very important because you will notice they charge towards the multi-target Inferno, and they actually get straight through that. No messing around, guys. Now there are variations to this if you do happen to have a siege machine present. I'm showcasing this video without siege machines just so that you guys without them can do these strategies, but obviously if you do have one, think of the most logical use of it, whether that be a wall wrecker for your attack, a stone slammer on the back end. I will give you examples as well. For this one, it's probably more a stone slammer, to be honest. The Valkyries, as you can see, shred straight through the base, and they will get through the multi-target Infernos relatively easily, and the Queen has gone down to the 6 o'clock area in order to continue that walk. You don't always have to have the Queen on the outside of the base. You can have her come onto the inside of the base behind your Valkyries. If you're doing more of a Bow Witch style attack, you might want to do that. Now guys, I did mention the siege machines. If you are doing a Bow Witch or a Frozen Witch, you probably do want to use the wall wrecker. However, with the Valkyries, they are that powerful. They can punch straight through the middle of the base and there's no worry. So you don't need the jump spells for them in a lot of cases unless there is a huge area, for example, multi-infernos, wizard towers, expos, something that you need to get the Valkyries onto quickly. You might consider a jump spell. I would take a combination of rage and heal spells. If you are doing the Frozen Witch, it's a lot of freeze spells, but let's move forward. Number 4 sees the Drag Bat. Now personally, this is one of my favorite strategies. For this video, again, I'm just giving you a very quick snippet on how to use the strategy. If you do want to see a little bit more in-depth tutorials, I would check out the Town Hall 10 playlist. But for the Drag Bat, what you are looking for is areas of the base whereby there is minimal splash damage. You can take advantage of that with the bats. However, you can use the dragons to take down the majority of the splash damage, and the bats can just then be focused on minimal splash. Air defense and single target Infernos is your target. So essentially, you're using the dragons to take out splash damage, bats to take out point defense, and dangerous defenses for the dragons. In this case, we use the Queen to take out 1 air defense. That is crucial in terms of the dragons. Any air defense are going to take them down very quickly, and we also get a wizard tower, which is important for the bats. Anytime you can do that with your Sui hero method, that's basically your king and queen coming in by themselves. You want to ensure that you are doing so. Now, another important point I want to make is the dragons attack anything. So notice how the king and queen have taken out this entire northern area. It is completely gone. The dragons are not going to go up there. They will be focused into the base here, and that is hugely important. Being able to control where your dragons go. So notice there are 2 dragons taking out this little area to 9 o'clock, and that focuses the funnel for then the main pack to come straight forward. A Lava Hound is used initially, and what that does is tank where it is going to be stagnant. So let's pause for a very brief second. Let's say this was a single target Inferno and it was going to take that Lava Hound out incredibly quick. We might not want to do it, but the Lava Hound will get to the air defense and will tank it for an incredibly long period of time. Meanwhile, the dragons can slowly set that funnel and then move in, because you've got to think, whilst the Lava Hound is 30 troop capacity, it's greater than a dragon. If we were to hit a black bomb in this area as well, and there's a good chance there is one, then your dragon, it's going down. So ultimately, if you can use a Lava Hound to protect it, then that is phenomenal. Let's check out the splash damage at this point. You notice a bat bomb variation coming in towards this far multi-target Inferno. Now that's because there is only 1 splash damage defense remaining in that of the multi-target Inferno. When that goes down, the bats can then concentrate on all of the defenses around it. And there's different variations. Like I said, sometimes you can bring the bats in at the side and let them swoop around the base. That depends on the amount of splash, and it depends how quickly you can take down that area. With a freeze and a rage, the bats have wiped out the multi-Inferno, the Teslas, and then they can just focus on the point defense, and that's what the bats are good at. Just shredding point defense. If there's any splash, they will go down quickly. And notice all of the dragons left in the middle. They took out the wizard towers. It meant the bats were protected, and if you can find bases where you can easily get pathing for the dragons, you can get them in and take down wizard towers, keep them away from air defense, or keep them as well protected, and use bats away from splash damage. It's very important. A stone slammer is good to help continue pathing. Number 3 sees the queen charge into baby dragons. Yes, a mass baby dragon attack. Now, for this one, it's incredibly strong, but it's incredibly fun and strategic. Now, for my top 5 videos, they are very subjective, guys. They're based on my attacks at Town Hall 10, my opinions, and also the attacks that I see from the Town Hall 10 clans that I cover. And I see the Queen Charge Baby Dragon a lot. A lot of this is because it's a challenge. It's probably the most used alongside the competitive Town Hall 10 community, I would say. But for the wider population, it's very difficult to use, and why it comes in at number 3 for me. But for the Queen Charge Baby Dragons is essentially if you can identify a base where you can charge your queen from one side of the base to the other, and she can take down all of the air defense. So look at it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, all within that central area. So really, once we've got the queen into the base, it's keeping her moving through the center. It's very similar to what you just seen with the Dragbat, trying to keep the dragons on track. But ultimately, it's using the baby dragons on the outside of the base, keeping them away from air defense. They will go down very, very quickly to air defense. But if you can keep them away from the air defense, then they are protected, and they can use their enraged bonus, in order to take down defenses quickly. So let's zoom onto the queen. As she charges forward, look at pathing at this point. I just want to make this very clear. The queen did a bit of a queen walk to create the funnel initially. Now, a queen walk is when you walk the queen around the base, and a queen charge is when you charge her into the base. I did a video yesterday on the queen walk and queen charge, variations of it at Town Hall 10. In fact, I'll link that at the end of this video if you missed it. Now, at this point, if the Barbarian King was not used, the queen would continue to walk. In order to then charge her into the base, the Barbarian King has taken out the defenses at the bottom and the trash buildings, so that the queen has to come into the base. It's as simple as that, guys. Cutting off the funnel at the other side is a very difficult skill, but it's one you need to do. With the jump spell, she now comes in. Now, for a queen charge, again, I would check out the video yesterday if you need practice on a queen charge, but keep your healers raged. The rage spell does encompass the healers and the queen, and sending the one single balloon in front, make sure that you are testing for black bombs. Now what you want to do is ensure that you wait on the baby dragons. Again, I'll pause very briefly here. In order to control the queen straight through the base, we have to ensure that the top of the base and the bottom of the base is taken out. Otherwise, there is an opportunity that she would get drawn to a certain area of the base. So it's trying to wait until that ideal moment. Now, once the queen has tanked this X-bow, granted we could start with baby dragons towards the top. However, the important point to focus on is not letting your queen die. If she goes down, it's raid over. So making sure that your focus is where it needs to be. If you start deploying baby dragons to the top, guess what? You're not looking down at your queen, and if she goes down, then it's raid over. So it's trying to make sure that the coordination of your deployment is on point. The jump spell in the center of the base is brilliant because it provides access to the different defenses on the back end here, whether that be the multi-inferno and then across to the air defense, and it just ensures the queen goes where we want her to go. Now, yes, the baby dragons are coming in at the top. Again, notice how the enraged bonus helps them to take down defenses quickly. But down to the bottom area, it's recognized that maybe a lava hound and a couple of loons and a haste is better just to very quickly wipe out this area, and that's the chosen method. By the way, all of the attacks in this video are by Built to War. If you want to join any of the clans that I cover, I would check out my social media links down in the description. All of the clans I cover, their recruitment servers are within my server, so check out my Discord server. As the queen moves through, she takes out the final air defense. Now, this is where the baby dragons look. They are incredibly powerful. Like, a multi-target inferno is very damaging to any other style of attack. However, for the baby dragons, it's no problem. They get through that incredibly fast, and it's such a fun strategy to work on, but it is the number 3. Let's go to number 2. It is the Lavaloon. Now, arguably, some of you might feel Lavaloon is the number 1. It all depends on your play style as well, guys. So whilst you do need to know the meta and the strongest attacks, if you're an air attacker and a pro at Lavaloon, you'll probably want to stick with the Lavaloon rather than go for the number 1 strategy, which is coming up. But this is a brilliant example, and it has a couple of other educational points within it, which is really important. Check it out. The one balloon starting off the attack for the queen charge takes out 2 black bombs. Now, a really important point here, if you have a scout attack, i.e. an attack has already been done on this base, you should be watching that. See where the traps are, see where the air bombs are. That proved in this attack to protect not 1, but 2 healers if that balloon had not been used. So that brings up a very important point of watching any attacks so you can bait out the traps. Now, again, I talked yesterday about the queen charge, and what happens with a queen charge is when you want to wall break into a compartment, it's very, very skillful, and it's something that you need to practice, but I will link that video at the end of this one, like I said. Now, check this out. I want to make this crystal clear. A wall breaker is used right now, and that is a test wall breaker. So it tests for not black bombs, sorry, that is the balloon. Tests for small bombs, where you're going to send in your wall breaker, but also you can test pathing with it as well. And in this case, it works, but check it out. This air defense is what the wall breaker is targeting. Wall breakers target buildings, not walls. Remember that. So when the air defense goes down, oh no, the rest of the wall breakers, they now target this archer tower. So they go for the other wall. That's how it works, guys. Timing was a millisecond off, but fortunately, because the wall was damaged and the rest of the base was taken out, i.e. the queen and her AI wanted to come into the base, she targeted it and got through the wall. So no major damage done, but a very minor point that you want to take note of. Focusing a little bit more on the Lavaloon then, I feel they were 2 very important educational points to bring up, and if ever you have things to share as well, drop it down in the comments. It helps other players out massively. So the clan castle troops go down. If you know what's in that, then certainly you want to try and take it down if it's going to be detrimental to your Lalo, and for a Lavaloon, enemy queen. You've got to get that enemy queen down. So a rage for the healers powers our queen through. However, for the Lalo, it is taking down some key defenses, i.e. the enemy queen, but it's really creating pathing. So if we look at some of the key defenses that are down, for example, queen, clan castle, multi-inferno, huge defenses to take down, getting an air defense here, which massively helps with pathing in terms of a lava hound that only goes to the air defense. Now look at it. We can start the Lalo from this area. We know we've got good coverage towards the air defenses from the lava hounds, and that means that the balloons can sneak in towards the buildings on the outside. But it also means that as the balloons come in and they start to clump, they will move around to the next multi-target inferno. They're not going to come down to the bottom here because the buildings are already down. So it's thinking about pathing of your balloons because they're defense targeting. Where will they go? You want to try and continue that nice U shape around the base and try and get good pathing to the dangerous defenses. That's why these balloons are incredibly important, because if this area was not taken out, the balloons might not come down straight to the multi, which is what we want. And that's why in this base design there's a huge gap around the multi-target inferno. You might see that in base designs that is there purely to try and drive the balloons away from it. So it's really good base design, and you have to counteract that. But notice the heal spell, the haste spell, really making sure the balloons are in good stead towards the back end, especially with the splash damage, so massively important. And look at how many is left over. Keeping that queen alive in the center as well is hugely important. If you keep your queen alive, you are really going to be onto a good one. But the Lalo is incredibly difficult to master, so practice it. It will serve you well moving up through Town Hall 11, 12, 13, so master the Lalo, but it's very, very difficult, and for that reason I have a different strategy as our number one. Amazing stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like if you have, but let's go ahead and let's get into the number one best attack strategy for Town Hall 10. The number one, your best Town Hall 10 attack strategy in 2020 is the Hog Riders. Whether it be for clan wars, clan war leagues, the Hog Riders can get it done. So let's get into it. I feel the Queen charge into Hogs is the strongest attack, but you could use Kill Squad Hog Riders, Sui into Mass Hog Riders. There's a lot of different variations, and that goes for any strategy. I want to quickly mention the Siege Machines. Again, this video showcases replays without siege machines so that if you don't have them, you can get these strategies done. My recommendation would be either a wall wrecker to help your queen so that you don't need to use wall breakers or jump spells, or a stone slammer to take out an area of the base and help with pathing. That's if you do have access to them. Getting into this one then, how do you set up the queen charge? Well, you do need to create pathing for her. We mentioned this briefly in the last attack, and I do have a video, like I said, breaking this down in a lot more depth. I'll link you that after this attack. But the king creates the funnel on one side, we have the baby dragon creating the funnel on the other, so that the queen can do a little bit of a queen walk and then charge into the base here as well. Now, if you do want to see my educational videos each day, be sure to subscribe, and you probably want to turn on that notification bell as well, guys. So with the wall breakers, we do send in the odd wall breaker to test here, followed by the rest of the wall breakers. Now, deployment initially means we actually break in towards this multi, but it's not the target we wanted, and the queen is able to take out them very dangerous defenses, setting up not just pathing, but taking out dangerous areas of the base. So let's check it out. The Barbarian King is gone. The Archer Queen is gone. The Clan Castle troops, and then this area of the base with the Multi-Inferno, a lot of them dangerous things are also gone, which allows the Hog Riders to then swoop around the top, and similar to that Lalo, you want to condense them to the dangerous defenses in that of the Multi-Infernos. It is the signature defense for Town Hall 10, so make sure you are using your strategies to get to it as quickly as possible. So we start with a few Hog Riders onto this multi-target Inferno. We do have to burn a heal spell, but then the rest of the Hogs start to come in from the top. I'll zoom on the Hogs, but I did want you to see that the Queen Charge was still going. Get the rest of your strategy working. You don't need to wait until the Queen has gone down. Make sure you are merging your phases. That is the main thing, guys. Do not wait too long. You can't time fail either. Hog Riders in from each and every angle means that they do condense towards this multi-target Inferno. Heal spells you want to use over the areas that are dangerous, when there's a lot of defenses. Ideally, when there's a lot of splash damage. Multi-Infernos, Wizard Towers, look out for giant bombs. Make sure that you're doing that as well. And another key thing, any buildings on the inside that are not defense targeting, your Hog Riders will not go for. So make sure either your Queen is going to get that, or you have a minion or a miner or something which gets into the inside of the base to take out them buildings. I cannot tell you how many times I have personally failed when I've taken out the base and missed a builder hut in the middle of the base. But that's the number one best attack strategy. If you want to see the Queen Charge video, it's right here. But until next time, guys, peace out.